Hello everybody, it is Shizato, and you know me, and, well, from the looks of the video, and by the title, I would presume, we are back on War Thunder. As you may know, give a little context, I had this game uninstalled for 4 months, I was getting sick and tired of the bull crap. I mean, it's still there, Soviet bias is still a thing. But that's not exactly what we're here for. This was literally my first match of the day. As you can see, I'm in the Donier 217 N1, battle rating 3.3, heavy attacker in the German tech tree. It is armed with 4 Mauser machine guns. I believe they're MG17s. With 1,000 rounds per gun, and then it comes with 4 MG151 cannons in the nose underneath that radar you see. No, the radar doesn't actually work that as you would think. And each MG151 has 200 rounds per gun. You also get 2 turrets, but the German 13mm MG131s are nowhere near where they should be in terms of damage, so basically you never need them. But they did come at least a little bit handy in this match. So I got down tiered, which is surprising considering this aircraft is usually paired up with BVs, 190 F4s, that kind of stuff. So you see trio of Condors, a Heinkel 111, and then you see some lower tier German and Italian fighters. So, with this plane, it's at the same battle rating as the BV-238, and you'd think, okay, it's a BV-238, it'd be much better to use one of those instead of this. So why am I using this? To answer that question is really challenging because I'm the kind of guy that somewhat likes the quirky planes, or just the ones that you don't see very often. And this is being a very good example. Hardly anyone uses a Donier 217 because it's kind of to be honest, it's a bitch to turn. It doesn't have very good roll rate. It rips at fairly low speed compared to fighters, especially if you're in a max up tier. P-47s will have a field day with you. And it's also sort of getting me prepared, in a sense, for 1.79. And if you've seen the countless number of YouTubers and just people who play War Thunder, you'll know that Germany's getting 2 new versions of the Bf-110. I know this isn't a perfect translation, but it's one of those things where it's a lot of firepower, and you're probably going to be playing in a very similar style. And that is a lot of the time going in head-ons, using that really high burst mass to punish people who aren't accurate with their shots. And mind you, I'm not exactly the most accurate person in the world either. I like to take my time, but I mean, even then, the guns can be a little unreliable in terms of accuracy. Also, another issue with this plane, the engines do really like to stay in the amber, especially if you've been weaping a lot. It's one of those vehicles where if you overheat the engine at all, you basically can't use WEP anymore. Because what will happen is that the engine temperature, you'll cool it off, it's perfectly in the white, turn the WEP back on, and then a few seconds later you're back in the amber, and then a few more seconds you're back in the red. So there's a lot of throttle management I'm needed to do within this match. But overall, this was really enjoyable. I mean, and I'll definitely leave some time at the end to show the stat card and whatnot. So you'll see how things turn out. But this was a bit of a slugfest in some cases, especially when I'm trying to get to the airfield. I had to do that twice. Some people. But no, that'll come later in the video. Right now, I'm chasing, I believe, a P-39, Russian P-39-33, or something of the like. Yeah, I think it's the P-39. And mind you, that P-39 is a big threat to this plane. It's a hell of a lot more maneuverable. It's a lot faster, climbs a lot better, and it's got that 37mm cannon. So, if it gets its gun on target, you could say goodbye to your precious Dornier. And I did forget to mention this. Despite the fact that this is one hell of a heavy bastard, it actually climbs decently well. I mean, because 6 minutes, they're about 5-6 minutes climbing, start off at 4,000 feet, and I'm already up to about 16k. I was thinking about diving on the Yak 1 down below. I think I kill him later in a very amusing fashion. But no, I decided to go head on this tactical idiot guy, who, very befitting of the name. So I missed some of my shots. He gets a hit on my right engine, giving me a water leak. And then you see I'm going back for the P-39. And you can see it just doesn't want to get guns on target. I'm trying, and no success. I mean, this thing turns decently. I was thinking about going for, well, then you just see there's a lot of enemies in the area, and you just see just trying to pick out which target. I know that Yak 7, I think it was. Hey, so the Yak 1B, so I turned down. Yeah, turned down for what? I tried pushing the head on, but again, things just don't want to. It just doesn't want to turn. And then you see, I'm about 670 kph, 680, and I'm redlining, which means I'm in a very risky zone. Mind you, the Russian planes can't go much faster than I can in a full-on dive, but they have better energy to retention just due to the fact that they're so much lighter. So, with that first kill out of the way, I'm deciding I'm going to RTB. And the Yak 9 is struggling to catch up with me. If you've noticed, the Yak 1 is actually the one catching, as the Chaika is just too slow. And that infield trip, yeah, the Yak 9 is pulling away. He's probably going to go deal with one of the other bombers, because you know how that is. So if you notice, my right engine, it's completely empty on water. And I'm cooking the engine. Though, spoiler alert, it's not gonna completely cook over. I'm not gonna lose an engine, because if you do lose an engine, you won't be able to make it home, because the engines are not quite as powerful as you'd want them to be. I mean, it's kind of the same issue with the Henschel 129 or the HS 129, aka the Duck. And in fact, this actually shares quite a few similarities to the Duck. They're both twin-engine German attackers, carry a lot of firepower on them, but it's also one of those cases they don't have the horsepower per se. They don't got the raw power to negotiate with the problems, you know, like fighters and stuff. So, approaching the runway here, and by now the AAA is already going. So I'm just trying to hit him with my machine guns. He dives in front of me, out of range of my guns. But then watch this. He's continuing to try and kill me. He really wants me out of this match. And okay, I got a hit there, and AAA actually hits me, funnily enough, but he ends up pancaking. So, credited with kill number 2. Now I'll skip this part since it's just repairing, and I'll get to the next encounter. So I'll see you in a moment or two. Alright, so taking off now. And I did notice something as I was taking off. Rather than it just keeping me at a standstill the entire time, instead what ended up happening was it started me off at about 20 kilometers an hour. Or 12 miles an hour for those who use the Imperial system, which is actually kind of rather amusing considering I'm using both in this situation. So taking off, I'm at full WEP, and I didn't even realize I had landing flaps down. And yeah, I didn't realize I didn't have my landing flaps down considering I was going so slow. So I pick them up to pick up some speed because I was wanting to intercept that Yak 7. So, Condor was coming in after doing a bomb run. Yak 2 took out the other Condor. But then something pops up on my map. And it's the Chaika. So, using what little aileron authority I have, along with the actually good elevator authority. It's really good elevator authority. And he's laying into me. He's really laying into me. Got another hit. He goes up. I think he bails. I think what ends up happening is he bails out of his plane. And I almost made a crucial mistake here in... yeah, that was inches off the ground. So yeah, I do believe that is my 3rd kill. I'm really slow here, so I'm having to do some adjustments. And yes, I have to go back to the airfield again and rearm, repair, that kind of stuff. Actually, I don't even need to rearm, I just need to repair, because that's a lot of damage I took. And my plane's not flying straight. You know, insert, there's a hole in your right wing memes here. So yeah, I'll skip this again. I'll be back for the last part because it really does die down a bit. There's a lot of just flying around aimlessly. Oh, not really. It's just this thing being kind of a slow bastard. So yeah, I'll see you back yet again. All right, so we're just about repaired now, and you can see the Condor just landed. In fact, he actually landed on his engines, which I thought was really funny because I heard a loud crashing sound. Boom, right there. So yeah, he ended up landing on his engines. So this time I'm keeping the flaps down, and that I need to turn off. It's one of the little safety control things where it'll automatically lift your plane up just a little bit so it doesn't hit the ground. So this time I'm messing around with the flaps a little bit. So I'm nice and taken off, you know, engine's already in the light amber. Oh, my water temps are already in the light amber. So for now it's just picking up speed, you know, along the ground. I was tempted to climb. And, you know, this is kind of boring, to say the least, so I might fast forward a little bit until things start to pick up. Or I could just talk about tactics. I mean, you've already seen enough of the gameplay. I mean, I do make mistakes quite often in this thing, actually. And you've probably seen it enough in this to know what's going on as well. You know, the try-turn fighting with vastly superior planes, that kind of stuff. But in reality, you kind of want this thing to be a head-on monster. You know, so air target belts for your 20s, or universal if you don't, or universal if you're feeling a little different. And then either universal or, universal stealth or tracers for the machine guns. Because, tracers, for some reasons, just set things on fire. Especially if they're 50 cals. Actually, speaking of 50 cals, A36s in the American tech tree will be your worst enemy, especially if they have the gun pods, because here's something I don't understand. They're a lower battle rating. They have 10 50 cals with the gun pods, because the gun pods add 4 plus an additional 1,400 rounds of ammo. It's faster than you. It's more maneuverable than you. It climbs better than you. Has air brakes, which is something this thing doesn't. And sometimes it could take more of a punishment than you, considering it's a P-51 and all. So yeah, this is also something you don't do against an IL-4. Even though the IL-4 is a very easy target, you don't just climb at it with a 217. I did get some hits. So yeah, it's mostly flat management right now, as I'm following the dot on my mini-map rather than actually doing that. And it's just more of the case of follow the prey. Because I believe at this point it's just him and another Yak 2. So his machine guns are sparking off slightly. I tried going at him again, but I just don't have the energy, don't have the maneuverability. Put the flaps up to just make things a little easier in the recovery. And then there's the Yak 7. So here we go. Pop some more, pop some more 20 mils, pop some more machine guns into the IL-4, and then it's going for the dive. I was correct actually with which Yak 7 it was. It's the one I tried heading on earlier. So I'm going to take the advantage of the heavy weight, get into a dive. And look how quickly it picks up speed. This is not a light, talk about momentum. And I have no idea what this Yak 7 was up to. Did his controller did he just give up? Yeah, there was a bit of a frame drop there, but got the kill. And then the IL-4 is chasing me. But, being the faster aircraft of the two, take a pot shots with the 13 mil machine guns. And he does very minor damage to some of my plane. Whatever. So put it back into a dive. He's gonna turn around. Yeah, he's turning around at this point. Yeah, he's got really heavy oil damage, or his oil is going out. So this would be kill number 5. Which, yeah, you can definitely tell it's a heavy battle. And I can also definitely tell I'm using a controller for this. I'm not really using the tail controls. So he's actually hitting me from that distance. But it's fortunately sparking for the most part. Yeah, and he's really low in engine power. If you can see, yeah, first my shots are going over, and then there's the pilot snipe. There was the pilot snipe. So I'm the last one on my team. They have one person left on their team. So it is a battle of the twin engine attackers. Because yes, the last player was in a Yak 2. So I'm going to pop an order. It takes me a little while to fiddle through because I wasn't really paying attention to the bottom of the screen at the time. So I was just flying through to see where the orders were. So I find them. Pop an Avenger, since that's the next best thing to a blind hunt. And then his ping shows up there. Yak 2. And what I didn't know is this guy was completely AFK. But from what I've learned in this small experience of going up against the Yak 2, it's faster. It's a lot faster than a 217. So what's going to happen now is I'm just going to skip to the point where, you know, I get to kill him. Because this took literally 9 minutes. So just look at that field gauge, 22 minutes. And now it is at 15 something. Yeah, it took 7 minutes to try chasing him down. Because he went so far out that it just respawned him facing the other way. So I'm looking, my whole team's dead. It's a little unnerving just seeing everyone but your plane. Like everyone, like just your plane, and then everyone else is just 3 lines. And that's a testament to my poor shooting. All my shots go right over him. Run out of MG151 ammo. Still have about 2,700, 2,300. I still have a lot of MG ammo. Let's put it that way. MGs last for a real long time. Which is kind of why I like the BF-110 sometimes. Because it just has a lot of ammo. If you're conservative. But anyways, in this case, since it reset him and he's in a slight climb, he's actually a little bit slower. And also at that point, I had to adjust my throttle. So yeah, got some hits. Got a crit. And then there you go. For the 6th kill. And now is the end of the match. So, yeah, this is definitely peak performance for a DOE 17 Nunchuck. Because it's whacking enemies left and right. 6 kills, 4,300 score, first on the team. If you notice that was the last man standing award. So let's see what the results. So yeah, first on the team. Got 5,000 modification research, 7,100 vehicle research on the 198, 103,800 Silver Lions. You can see my awards there. Professional, the final blow, survivor, last man standing. I was literally the last person alive on the entire match. and then Terror of the Sky. So, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I am Shizato. I will see you in the next video, or live stream. See ya.